be said that we're delving into the mysteries that are hidden in plain sight until the mind no longer needs to see and understand by the light of existence. In the deep mysticism of several persuasions, it is said that we cannot be liberated until we relinquish our body, our mind, and our soul. And we know very well what it is to relinquish our body, and to know what it is to relinquish our mind. But even though it is mooted that the soul is that golden thread, or that continuum that brings us back life after life, the soul is still a mystery. So what does it mean to relinquish our soul? There are many, many stories in different persuasions that have in them the symbol of a stone that glows with its own light even in the darkest of places. And there's a reminder of that story, the story of that elderly couple who had longed to have a child, but even after many decades been unsuccessful, even though they prayed and followed all the tenets of their faith. But one day, after again importuning God under the full moon with full ritual, the wife had a dream. She dreamt that she was going to give birth to a child, a girl. And in her dream, she was told that this child would hold a stone, and that this stone must be kept with her at all times. So indeed, the wife became pregnant and gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. And in her hand there was a stone. So following what was told in her dream, the father and mother had the stone set and placed around their child's neck. Now their child was called Alicia, and Alicia grew into not only a physically beautiful child, but also one of great intelligence and abilities. She could sing like the nightingales. She could play any instrument that was placed in her hands. And it soon became known far and wide of her beauty and her talents. But her mother and father kept her secreted, not exposing her to the ways of life. And always the stone was kept around her neck. But then, as she grew to teenage years, there was an occasion when it was said that the queen of the realm was going to the communal baths. And of course, all the women wanted to be in the presence of their queen, including Elisha. She begged her mother to allow her to go to the communal baths to be in the presence of the queen. Now, the mother was very, very loath to allow her daughter into this worldly environment, but succumbing to her pleading, she allowed Elisha to go to the communal bath on the day that the queen was to be there. Now, it had come to the ears of the queen of the beauty and the talents of Elisha. So when she came to the baths, the queen was surprised to see that indeed all that had been said about her physical beauty was so. And the queen tested her abilities by having various instruments brought, which Elisha played adeptly with great melody. Now, of course, the queen was very jealous, and so a messenger was sent to the mother, demanding that Elisha be allowed to be taken to the palace to be in the service of the queen. Now, of course, the parents were very, very afraid, but what could they do? This was a royal demand. So Elisha was taken to the palace. But instead of being an icon and there for the entertainment of the royalty and others, she was immediately taken to a deep, dark dungeon, and there she was left alone. Now, after some while, the queen went down to the dungeon to see how Elisha was faring, and to her very great surprise, when she entered the darkness of the dungeon, she saw the stone that was around Elisha's neck glowing brightly. Immediately she wanted that stone, so she grabbed it from the neck of Elisha, and Elisha immediately fell into a deep swoon. Now the queen thought that she'd finally disposed of this being, so she had servants come and take Elisha away to bury her. But the servants knew of Elisha, her gentleness, not only her physical beauty and her abilities, but the loving kindness she emanated. It was renowned far and wide. So instead of taking her to a burial ground, they took her deep in the forest to an abandoned hut that was there, and they laid her to rest there, telling no one. Well, time passed, and it so happened that the son of the queen, a prince, was out riding one day when he came across the abandoned hut. And when he entered and saw this so beautiful maiden, he immediately fell in love with her. Now he could not waken her from her deep, deep coma. But when he returned to the palace, he said to his mother, the queen, "I have found the one I wish to marry." The queen was delighted. "Is she a princess?" said the queen. And the son replied, "Surely she is the most beautiful of princesses." So the queen, from somewhere, said to her son, "I will give you a gift for your princess." And so she took the stone that she had taken from Alicia's neck and gave it to her son as a gift for his would-be bride. When the prince took the stone to the hut where Alicia lay and placed it on her chest, she immediately awoke from her deep, deep trance. Of course, the prince was delighted. And then Alicia told her story of what had happened to her. And the prince knew that his beautiful bride-to-be was in mortal danger from his mother. So he kept her sequestered in the hut until the day of their marriage. And then he swathed her in 7 veils. And then she was brought to the palace for the marriage to take place. After the ceremony, when veil after veil was removed, and Alicia's beauty was there, open to not only the queen, but all. The queen went mad. She lost her mind, thinking that this being was dead, and now to see her in splendor, the bride of her own son. And she left the palace, never to be seen again. The rest of the story we know. But the question, of course, that arises in our delving and diving into the mysteries hidden in plain sight. What is the deep meaning of this story for us? When we look at this mysticism of these persuasions which say we have to give, relinquish our body, our mind, and our soul in order to attain what is called liberation. What say you? What say you? What is this mystery? The mystery of the soul. Our soul. It was our body, it was our mind, and it was our soul.